Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It is about 90 degrees out and it's only 8 in the morning here in South Florida. I got a 26-foot Mako for a transom restoration. It's actually a full restoration job, but in this video I'm just going to show you how to do the transom. It's going to be fully enclosed with a dive bracket and twin outboard, so it's got to be really strong and sturdy to hold all that weight in the back. So with that being said, stay tuned and I hope you learned some. So first things first, let me get in the boat and figure out where we're gonna start cutting into this so we could access the coring on the inside. If you're doing a transom from the outside, I'm sorry, but you've already made a mistake. Alright guys, so it's a new day. Got the boxes and all the flooring cut out to access the transom. I went ahead and cut out the outer skin of the fiberglass that was on the coring. Do that. Alright, so step one is done, decoring the whole transom. As you can tell, this skin is a little flimsy because there's no more coring on it. So what we're going to do now is take some thickened epoxy here and some chopped up 1708 and get all the voids and seams filled up with that first. And then we're going to start laying some new glass on top of this before we even start recoring it, making sure we got a nice solid foundation. Alright, so you can see there's like this big old void in the strakes or whatever from the mold. What I'm doing is taking that thickened epoxy and all those chopped strands, getting it all mixed up to like a putty, and literally just filling that void up with pure epoxy and glass, so then it'll be rock solid. So I got a hot glue gun and some popsicle sticks. What I'm gonna do is take the hot glue gun and glue these together all the way around on the outer edge of the transom to make our template. Sharpie out. And that doesn't work. Alright, so I figure I'll show you guys this part. So I went ahead, like I said, and got two 1-inch high density pieces of Coosa coring instead of one 2-inch thick piece of Coosa, because this is a lot stronger method than just one solid piece of Coosa. What I'm doing right now is I'm taking 1708, laying it down. As you can see over here, this is fully glass. Once this cures and this one cures after I do this one, come tomorrow we're going to take the two pieces and glue them together with thickened epoxy. So instead of having just one 2-inch thick piece of Coosa coring, now I have a 2-inch piece of Coosa coring with basically a center backbone with 1708 and epoxy. More rigid, more stronger this way, if you do it properly, obviously. So
Alright, we got our 2 sheets grinded and cleaned up. I'm gonna use our epoxy super bond 1-to-1 ratio, get this mixed up, spread it completely around, clamp these 2 together. Alright, so we got the transom core all glassed up on both sides. You can see this thing is beefy and strong. That's for damn sure. So we got it cleaned up, grinded down, got it roughed up I should say. Got all the glossy epoxy off of it, so it's nice and rough, so it'll cure good to the skin here. We also got this skin all grinded up and cleaned, ready to go. So what we'll do now is, first off, I'm going to be using these pieces of wood to clamp this piece of coring onto the original skin. So what I'll have to do first is drill holes out of the 2x4s so I can run these bolts through and sandwich the piece of coring and the skin together with the 2x4s and the 2x8. So yeah. Alrighty, got the holes drilled. About to get this thing glued up. Alright, before I install this Coosa coring, let's just admire this glass work here, guys. Sheesh. See, that is all smothered with thickened epoxy. Time to get this pushed in with the bolts through the holes and clamp it. Now that we got this behemoth of a transom coring glued in to the original skin, what I'm gonna do next is take the grinder and start grinding all this clean and bringing it back quite a ways so we could lay some new fiberglass and get this flush with the original wall. And then on the inside, climb on in here. So on the inside, obviously there's voids. Can't get it perfect without a nice butted up contact. So what I'm doing now is taking the pieces of cut off Coosa and getting it glued in with thickened epoxy and filling all this voids and all the empty spaces up with the thickened epoxy and the Coosa. Let that cure. Once that cures, we'll get this all grinded down clean, and we'll be able to start laying our glass all the way around the edges first and then doing big sheets across. Alright, so now that the transom coring is glued in and all the voids are filled up and clean, as you can see, all the edges are nice and grinded down and rounded off and smooth finish. We are able to now lay our glass properly and have a good contact from the hull to the transom coring. So what I'm going to do now is I got 4 layers of 1708 pre-cut. As you can see, it starts with a small layer first, a little bit bigger, and it just goes up from there. So that's layer 2, 3, and 4. So 4 layers are going to go across all the seams here. They are all pre-cut and ready to go. Once that is I guess laminated, we're then going to take bigger sheets and start running bigger sheets down and overlapping everything else with bigger sheets. So start small, especially with the edges. It's the most important part, and then work your way up. So we got the 4 layers of 1708 pre-laminated. What I'm about to do now is just take the roller, put some actually, let me just do it right now. Take the roller, pre-mix it with, or get it wet with the epoxy, and wet out the corners in which you're gonna lay the glass into, even though we already wetted out the glass. This is just extra reinsurance of it adhering perfectly fine to the surface. All right, so now that it's pre-wetted out as well, let's take our pieces of glass. The first layer is just 2 little pieces. Open it up, make sure you have the mesh side obviously going onto the surface. And that will be our first piece of glass laid on the transom. Take the roller, start in the middle, and work your way out. And do this with every piece you lay before you lay the next layer on. Even take your fin roller. I'm sliding. Take your fin roller, and like I said, look at that. Get all that air. Get it nice and pushed out. Nice contact surface. Don't do it too hard. Just always, like I said, the corners is the most important part of this whole glassing process. I would say it's all important, but I'd say this is the most important part. Layering this up nice. Put our next layer on down there. Boom. Just like I said, I like to take the roller because it's wetted out, push it in first. So work the air out with the roller, and then take the pin roller and just do it a little extra. Camera battery's about to run out, but you get the whole concept. I'm gonna be doing this all the way around the edges. So you can see, getting all the air pushed out. This is when prepping your surface really comes in handy, because the glass work is just phenomenal once you have a good surface. All right, so last night I cut out and pre-glassed the knee braces for the transom wall. What I'll do next is grind all this excess fiberglass off, flip them over, glass another 3 layers of 1708 onto this side as well, grind that as well off, and then round the edges, or at least round this outside edge off, and wrap one side to the other side with 1708 as well, so it's all encapsulated. Once that's cured and cleaned up, we'll take these knee braces and get them glued into the transom. Once they're glued in, we'll start glassing everything all together, so it's all encapsulated, the hull, the braces, and the transom wall, all big one piece. Epoxy, fume silica. Alright, so I figured before I start glassing, I'll explain here first with the pre-cuts. So we glued the knee braces in. We didn't glass them in yet, so this is the glass that's going on the edges. 3 layers. 1, 2, 3. 3 layers on each side. That's why there's 4 cut here. And then we got our main glass, so after we glass the edges of that, we'll tie it into the main glass that's going on the inside wall of the transom. There is 5 total layers of 1708 going, increasing by a foot each layer. So this is 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, and 5 foot. So 5 layers in total just going on the transom wall. Not to mention we already seamed it up with 3 to 4 layers on the edges, layering it up, and then the 3 layers that we pre-glassed when we did the coring. So In total, this is gonna have like about 10 to 12 layers of glass just on the inside, holding it together. So this thing will last just about a lifetime. So yeah. Alright, so off camera I went ahead and cut back more material just so I could lay more material onto the hull itself. We went ahead and glued in the knee braces to the original stringer since the stringer coring was really solid and good. We just mixed thick and epoxy up, filled up all the voids, and then after that we just layered fiberglass and wrapped it all up. This is fully encapsulated. I also went ahead on the outside skin, laid 2 layers of 1708 and epoxy just to seal everything up on the outside. Any of like the holes, drain holes, screw holes, so later on in the future, none of that would crack. So yes, I hope you guys learned something. We are done for now in this video. I'll make another video on basically finishing it off. So yeah, stay tuned for the next video. I think I'll be putting an outboard bracket on a transom over here on this 23-foot boat we are pretty much wrapped up on over there. So if you want to learn how to put a bracket on a transom, like and subscribe, and I'll show you how to do it.